It is late, and you are parked at the end of a road that does not go anywhere. The radio is on low, the windows are starting to fog. And then the song stops. A voice says that a man escaped tonight from the hospital on the far side of the county. He is dangerous. He is somewhere in this area. And where his right hand should be, there is a hook. She wants to go home. You tell her it is nothing. She says it again, and this time she is not asking. So you start the engine and you pull out fast, gravel everywhere, and neither of you says a word the whole way back. You get to her house. You are still annoyed. But you were raised properly, so you get out, and you walk around the car, and you take hold of the handle on her door. And hanging from it, torn off at the wrist, is a hook. Welcome to the Horror Hub. Today's monster, the hook. You have heard that before. Everybody has. Somebody told it to you at a sleepover, or on a school trip, or in the back of a car, and they told you it happened near here, to a friend of their cousin last year. It did not. It has never happened, anywhere, to anyone. And almost every person watching this could finish it. So where did it come from? Nowhere. That is the honest answer, and it is stranger than it sounds. The folklorist Jan Harold Brunvand traced it back through the 1950s, and by 1959, American teenagers were telling it everywhere. But the first time anyone actually wrote it down was November 1960 in a newspaper advice column, Dear Abby. A reader sent it in. Which means this story spent a decade crossing an entire country, mouth to mouth, before it ever touched paper. It did not slowly take shape in public where we could watch it happen. It arrived, finished. And it is finished. Take it apart, and every single piece is doing a job. The warning comes out of the radio, which means it arrives in a stranger's voice, from outside the car, with authority. Nobody has to be believed, nobody has to be brave. They are alone because they chose to be. They drove out there on purpose. Whatever happens next, they picked the spot. Then the fear turns into an argument, which is the most ordinary thing in the world, and that is exactly what makes it feel true. You never see him, not once. The story flatly refuses to show you the thing it is about. And then it ends on a single object, one prop, that tells you three things at the same time. It was real. It was inches away from you, and you got out. Almost nothing in horror manages all three at once, and this does it in one word. So what is it for? Look at when it appeared. 1950s America, and for the first time in history, an ordinary teenager had a car. Which is to say, for the first time in history, a teenager had a room with a door that adults could not open. And the adults were terrified. Read the story again with that in your head, and it stops being about a killer at all. The girl who wants to go home is right. The boy who wants to stay is punished. It is not really a horror story. It is a rule with a monster bolted onto it to make it stick. Do not park. Except that in 1994, a folklorist called Bill Ellis picked the same story up and turned it over. He argued that the man with the hook is not there to punish those two teenagers at all. He called him a moral custodian. He is the grown-up world itself. The grown-up need to get in between them, handed a coat and a hat and a weapon, and sent out into the dark after them. Which means that when kids tell this story to each other in a dark room, out of earshot, the monster they are describing is us. There was never a man with a hook. Nobody has ever found him at the end of any road, in any county, in any year. He was assembled, and we have just watched it happen. But he was not assembled out of nothing, and that is the part people miss. 1950s America really did have couples attacked in parked cars, out in the dark at the edge of town. The hook is invented. What it is made of is not. And here is how well it worked. That letter, the first time this story was ever written down, ends with the reader saying one line about herself: "I will never park to make out as long as I live." It worked on the very first person we can prove told it, and nobody has touched it since. No new ending, no remake, no update in 70 years, because it never needed one. It was finished the day it arrived, and it is still running. You already looked at the door handle. Subscribe. New monster every week. And when you park tonight, leave the engine on.